Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Hard sport all plays, they work in your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hard sports all plays.
What's going on? Sorry, that was my phone replaying this exact same video. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the ASAP Wrestling Hour. I am your host, Nate the Great, and to my left we have Ray Cruz. Ray, how are things going over there on over your side over in Florida?
Well, it's been doing good. It's a little chilly out here today, and probably been the 50, 60 degrees right now. So
yeah, it's
pretty cold
here, like in the 30s and 20s. But with that being said, you know, a lot has happened. Survivor Series has happened, but let's go ahead and talk about a few days before, which is Friday Night SmackDown. And first thing that happens off was, you know, there was a Roman Reigns. He basically taunts King Woods, and he says, the only reason why I took, hold on, I'm reading this out loud. The only reason why I took this crown last week is because I can, the tribal chief said, dismissing the idea that it's been completely acknowledged. So last week we didn't cover the show. How did you, even though that this was last week, how did you like how this was all being set up?
Well, I mean, I think they played it too closely to what they needed to be. They needed to have the feud to kick off, and I mean, the interaction between Woods and them wasn't really getting started until like a couple weeks, and this really set the stage for the Survivor Series, get you involved into the match, and that's the way that WWE likes to do. You know, start off a new feud. And we don't know how long this feud is going to go. If it's just going to last, just through the Survivor Series, or if it's going to keep going on. Right now, Woods has now elevated his game up in the New Day, up to where Kofi Kingston was and Biggie is. So I think he's up to his game a little bit and making him a little bit more relevant. So I mean, this leading up to where there needed to be the feud. So I mean, we can see if this is going to continue on for a little while, or if Vince McMahon is just using it as if you humiliate Xavier Woods.
Yeah, I won't lie to you. At first, I didn't want to watch it because I thought after seeing some of the photos, because I don't get a chance to watch it until a couple days late. I didn't want to watch it because the very first photo I saw, and this was spoiled throughout social media, was Roman Reigns having the crown and being united as king.
Right.
I didn't want to watch it until I find out that was only temporary.
Yeah.
So I ended up watching the whole thing, but again, they fool us. Social media fooled us.
Yep.
It's another whole lesson of don't judge a book by its cover. But anyway, with that being said, I like how this was being set up, except that Roman Reigns ended up winning over Biggie in the Survivor Series match. But we'll get to that when we cover Survivor Series. Shortly after that, Ricochet, there's a fatal four-way match. Ricochet, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Jinder Mahal. And the winner of this was Sheamus, defending Mahal, Cesaro, and Ricochet. What are they gonna do with Cesaro?
Right now, Cesaro's just being one of these little. They're gonna use them probably experimentally. Maybe use them later on in a where they need to fill in a thing, but also they could lead back to where Cesaro and Sheamus lead back to being the bar again because they had a good run with the bar and the crowd really liked that run. So they could be making he could be making his run through the tag team division and make another team that can compete with the Usos and the likes of the New Day and stuff like that. So I mean, you can be on the lookout. What they're gonna do with Jinder Mahal? Jinder Mahal is probably gonna be hopefully he'll be released because I mean he's really not doing anything for me right now. And then Sheamus, and Sheamus and Cesaro, then Ricochet. I like to see them push Ricochet a little bit more. But Vince is stereotyping the smaller kids and the smaller guys and not the real big guys. And Ricochet's a very athletic guy. So if he's not really going to push Ricochet, then Ricochet probably going to ask for his release and then go into independent. He could be over at AEW and be a superstar over there too. So, I mean, if you look at where they are releasing these superstars and, they released John Morrison, one of the big names,
I hated that.
yeah,
I
they brought him back
hated
and then they
that.
released him. I kind of figured they were going to release him because they only brought him back for the Miz story, and then once they lost him in the Miz story, and they tried to do the fill up, the drip, and that really didn't work over well for him. So, Miz has been gone for a while, so John Morrison really hasn't been doing anything, and he ain't been really filling in spots. So, you might see John Morrison end up over at AEW. I think they have a little bit more better program for him over there than they do at the WWE right now. So I mean, if you look at these three-way, photo ways, these three-way matches, just trying to fill time slots and stuff like that. I mean, it really didn't tell you what this was going to be for anyway. I mean, most people gave this match a B. It was just I think it was just a filler match, and it really didn't shock me that
Give it a C.
yeah, it didn't really shock me that the Celtic Warrior was going to win. I mean, the only people that could really give the Warrior, give Sheamus the run for his money was the Cesaro. So, I mean, I don't know what they actually going to do with him.
I will say this though. I feel like that match provided was a spark of a storyline. If that made any sense. I don't think there was any storyline being said in this one, but I feel like this match was a spark of a storyline.
Right.
Kind of like how I felt, even though it wasn't really, I didn't really care too much for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how I felt when what's that guy's name? Shinsuke Nakamura took the title off of Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
The very first match, I didn't really care too much, but again, it started a story.
Right. This match it could really start one. I mean, Ricochet and Sheamus had a battle going on Raw. So you could restart that or whatever you're going to do with that. I mean, to me, I think that match was just a filler match. It was just something to give the show a good boost to kick off. It could kick off a storyline. We don't know. We don't know how Vince is going to run this. We don't know what Vince's mind is thinking. I mean, Vince is now starting to come back on television. We've seen that at what happened on Monday Night Raw this past Monday night. When we get to that, we'll talk about that too. So, but the next match was Naomi Aliyah versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler. Once again, I think Naomi gets an ally now with Aliyah. That's going to help her storyline out with
yeah, and I sort of like that actually.
That's going to help her having an ally with what's the general manager Sonya and her team now consists of her, Natalya, and Shayna Baszler. So I mean they're going to start. They're doing both SmackDown and Raw are going to have a fashion with the GMs. So it's going to bring back some sort of authority type deal fashion.
Yes.
So on both shows. So Adam Pearce is going to have his, and then Sonya is going to have hers on SmackDown. So I mean, it could be a good showing. It could be a start of a new thing. But I just don't know how this is going to play out with Naomi and Leia and this whole thing, because now you say you got Sonya as GM, then you got 3 other persons, and then you possibly could have another person on Raw joining their thing in Dewdrop too. So I mean, I don't know exactly how this is going to run. I don't know if this stable is going to be combined with Adam Pearce's stable, and they have 2 stables where they can bring them off and on SmackDown or Raw. That's something that Vince was talking about too, having rovers where they could bring different talents from SmackDown back to Raw, in a storyline type deal.
So, I started watching WWE. I said this before. I started watching WWE after the whole factions thing kind of ended. I loved, even though I knew people that hated the factions. I knew people that hated the factions. I loved it. I loved it because it caused a lot of that drama. But we'll get into Raw, because there's something that I felt like had to do with the Raw's faction storyline that I didn't really like, and I'll explain to that when we get to there.
Right.
Next after that was Jeff Hardy versus Madcap Moss, and the winner was Hardy. They need to give Hardy more of a push.
Well, they're starting this is a starting of some kind of storyline. They're gonna be bringing he's got a new character that they're gonna bring out. We think it's gonna be the Willow character. We don't know exactly which one it is, but he's been working on it behind the scenes, and they're gonna start giving him a little bit more of a push. To maybe give him, because I think his contract when he signed to come back over here was for him and have one more run at the WWE World Title shot. So they're going to work out that storyline. Part with this new character coming in, it's going to feature him, and then it's going to push him right up into that, right after the Rock story, right after the WrestleMania storyline is complete. And this could be another feud for him, all the way up to Jeff Hardy and Roman Reigns lead all the way up to SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
But it also mentioned that it could be, Roman Reigns could lose his title, because I think Roman Reigns wants to have a vacation with his daughter and stuff like that, but he can't do it while he's got the title. So if he makes it through WrestleMania, I think he'll lose the belt probably at SummerSlam, and then we'll run next year SummerSlam with Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy with Brock Lesnar maybe, or whoever takes the belt off. So. But there's also some rumors that The Rock might if Rock can be able to do WrestleMania this coming up year, The Rock could take the belt off of him, and then he'll go on his vacation and stuff like that. And then The Rock probably drop the belt to either to Jeff Hardy, and then Jeff Hardy and Brock Lesnar will run a storyline together.
That's an interesting idea. Do you think that Hardy might come? I mean, do you think that Rock might be able to come back, like, say, next Royal Rumble when that starts up?
It all depends on with his movie schedule, because he was supposed to be at Survivor Series, but his filming schedule was kind of off. That's why that egg came into play. When we get to SummerSlam, we'll talk about that storyline too. So
okay,
but yeah, him. Could be something that Jeff Hardy probably being with this guy here, runs a storyline with Corbin, and then all of a sudden this Corbin keeps end up beating him or something, and then I'll make him go in some kind of suicidal type deal character or whatever character he's going to. They're also talking about using Sheamus to finish off the drinking thing. This could also set off that new character too. So they got two different storylines they can use to set the new character up, and that's what they're trying to portray right now for Jeff Hardy.
Okay, I'm starting to like that actually. The next one was Shinsuke Nakamura and Angel, and the winner of that actually was Nakamura. Defeating Angel. I don't. When this tag team had no name, and it was just Angels Garza, I didn't really see it mix well, and then they put a name to it, and all of a sudden, boom! I really like it.
Yeah, but
now it's starting leaning towards the side of, hey, he might be better as a tag team.
He could be. I mean,
competitor.
But the only problem is you only got so many teams can go up against the Usos and stuff. I don't know. We don't really know how they gel with the Usos. We don't know how they gel with the New Day, because with your tag teams you got to gel. So that's probably why they're doing a lot of not putting them up there yet. They're trying to make them gel a little bit. Why we're seeing them forming the screen. There's some sort like they did with the some with like WCW did with the Hollywood Blondes with Steve Austin and Brian Pillman. So, I mean, you put the two teams together, you got to gel, and they got to, start knowing. Even though they're relatives, I mean, they're cousins. So, I mean, to me, I think it's just going to take over time to get them together. And if they keep putting the push onto them, I can see them probably getting into a tag team title up in the tag team division. So, I mean, it's just going to take a little time for them to gel.
And the last part of that was Sasha Banks against Shotzi Blackheart.
Yep.
And the winner was Sasha Banks. And honestly, I thought this was the best match of the night.
I mean, yeah, Shotzi Blackwell, she puts on a good match. I mean, her indie days was excellent run in the indies. I mean, she puts on a good show. Banks, we know Banks how she puts on a good show. I mean, you got to commemorate Sasha Banks. She battles along with everybody, whoever she was in, she gels with everybody. But the question is, what are we going to see when they bring Bayley back? That's going to be the next question. How are they going to bring Bayley back? Where is Bayley going to fit in this women's division?
Do you see Bayley and Shotzi working together?
Or she end up, her and Sasha Banks, they've been regulating them. They've been hanging around with each other all out of the WWE, so they could always work that storyline back in that, Sasha Banks been trying to work on her relationship with Bayley to repair it and then bring it back like that. But I don't know. I don't exactly how they're going to bring Bayley back, because right now you don't want to mess up. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to put Bayley on Raw to mess up Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch, because right now that chemistry right now is starting to settle in a little bit, and Liv Morgan is starting to pick up a little bit of traction with her and Bayley with her and Becky Lynch working together. So, where are you gonna put Bayley at? I mean, you can't put Bayley in certain ones and certain things, and you can't make her go straight back to the title because, she's been out for a while.
If Bayley goes back to Raw, I cannot see any other storyline other than continuing her feud with Bianca Belaire.
Yeah, that's that right there too. But Doudrop is now that with Doudrop and Bianca Belaire is starting to kick off I think unless you put Bayley comes in and ends up being a partner with Doudrop. So that's another thing you could look at too.
Yeah, that's true.
You can always work in the thing that Doudrop was there. Bayley brought Doudrop in to be a hit woman, like a hitman, like a hit woman. So,
and the final part continuing actually where it started out in the beginning. King Woods basically calls out Roman Reigns. How did you feel about that little ending right there?
It was good. It was continued from the opening all the way down into this thing here, and the flow was really good. I think Roman Reigns and Woods worked well together. I'm calling it out. It's setting it up for another feud to keep going on, and led right into Big E and stuff like that in his his quest to go against Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. So I mean, it looks very, very promising. Big E's music hit. Wood's best friend made it. President fell. A brawl between the Survivor Series opponents broke out, concluding with Big E driving the head of the table down with a big ending, and Reigns retreated as the Raw's champion stood tall and closed out the show. I think it was very unique and very well set up for that feud to go into the Survivor Series. I think they played that out. I agree with the A on that. I think that's the only thing that Vince McMahon has worked out was the Woods feud with Roman Reigns, and he put a little bit more thought into it. And you can see if he puts his mind to it and don't let the soap opera writers write the storylines and let him write the storyline. I think him and Paul E's been writing Roman Reigns storyline. So, if Paul E's writing the storyline, Paul E's a great writer and he knows how to create the storylines. I mean, he's been in the wrestling business for a while. He used to own his own promotion, the ECW. So he knows how to book and he knows how to write storylines. So,
I agree. This wasn't really a match, but it was a brawl. There was a brawl. I said that the Shotzi Blackheart thing was the best match of the night, but this was the best moment. But I do have a prediction, and you kind of made a similar prediction earlier. It was just obviously it didn't happen because Survivor Series rolled out.
Right.
I think Biggie is going to, or Big E or Xavier Woods, one of those two guys, is going to knock out the other two guys of the New Day when Royal Rumble hits. Like move them over.
They were talking about splitting them up.
Bring him like over the top rope.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how they're going to break up the New Day, because if they break up the New Day, then there goes your tag team there, to go up against the Usos until we get other tag teams gelling right to where they can face them on SmackDown. I mean, to me, if you break that team up now, then you're going to have a big problem with the SmackDown tag teams. Unless they're going to let, they could bring the bar back. I mean, that's the only way they could to handle that New Day explosion, to bring the bar back and have New Day break up. Then you have the bar going up against the Usos. But are they going to turn Sheamus back good? That's going to be the next question.
Last thing I have on SmackDown. When do you think Brock Lesnar is coming back?
Probably maybe probably at the beginning of the year, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bringing back after Thanksgiving. I don't think they're bringing back to this Friday. They could. I mean, he's on a 30 days suspension. His 30 days of suspension should be coming up at the end of this month, so they could bring him back at the beginning of December.
Now, going into Survivor Series, I'm not going to go in. I don't think I should go in order here. Least favorite part of the night.
For SmackDown,
without a question, least favorite part of the night, without a question, was the 25-man battle royale. When Omos ended up with a win.
Yeah, for the Survivor Series, yeah, that. I mean, you kind of know that he was going to win it because, it took a lot of wrestlers to throw him out, and they don't want to break up what they're working with him right now. So, I mean, that was just pointless of the battle royal. It was just something to probably fill in time or something like that. But still, that was just pointless because you got a big man and you really took most everything out. So
now I wouldn't mind if this was the annual Andre the Giant.
But that's only
battle royale.
That's only at WrestleMania though.
Yeah, that's only on WrestleMania.
So,
You know,
yeah.
everything.
But Damian Priest was the battle with Insidi Nakamura was pretty good. Nakamura came out with the victory on that on the disqualification. They still working his new character out with him going into another dimension like he did on Monday Night Raw, which is I think is brilliant because then he's acting normal and the next thing the one thing he took it to another and then takes him to another level and it brings the spirits out in him. So I think that's using his culture into his storyline, which is pretty good because they got the evil spirits and his culture can do stuff to him, and they try to make him bad, but not make him bad. You know what I'm saying? They make him go into an alter ego type character. I
I
think that's
agree.
kind of
I
brilliant.
agree. I think that the gimmick is brilliant, but I said this here on the show before. There should have been a storyline involved with that gimmick.
Oh, it's leading up to it. It's just got to be stage by stage. Sami Zayn stuff on when we get to Monday Night Raw, we'll talk about that. It's just his character's got to be. You got to build that. You got to build his character from the ground up. So you got to put each layer onto it until it gets built up really big, until the crowd really picks up on.
What I'm saying is, I felt like there should have been a storyline leading up to the gimmick change before the gimmick change.
Well, I think he had to do the gimmick change because they were getting heat from certain Indian groups out there, and
okay.
they were putting pressure on him to change his character a little bit instead of him coming out and throwing the little arrows, shooting the arrow things out there. So they had to come with a little gimmick change, and Vince McMahon was a little bit pressure on that because he came out in the article I was reading about it saying that they were getting pressured and they had to do something quick, so they didn't have enough time to run a cover story for it. So that's why I'm saying they're building it layer by layer as we go. We've seen the subtle changes, we've seen not the quick changes, we're not seeing the quick things about it, but we're seeing his music change, his entrance change. Now we're seeing his inner spirits now it's changing, and it's been built by layer. It's giving a cover story as it goes. It's not giving you what you're looking for. You're looking for that very first cover story, why he's changing. But as he's going, he's creating that cover story, and that's what you call another type deal. So if you're really into wrestling, and I got what he was doing because it didn't when he changed that character around and then changing step by step. First thing go was his entrance music. Then he didn't turn that evil spirit after he got the new entrance music. It took a couple weeks. Then he's starting to change after certain matches. So he's getting a cover story here with his ability. And I think they're building it correctly. They need to keep it slow playing it. If they build it too quick, then nobody's gonna really believe it. But if you slow play it like they're doing right now, and then the next thing you know, he's in a big feud, then you see what the cover story is all about. Then they'll write the cover story on top of that and they'll give it to you.
So I didn't know that they were getting pressured. So I take back what I said about that. Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch versus SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, and the winner of that was Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, but it was used as and see, this is what it gets me is because Vince McMahon got, I don't know if you heard about it, but there was a lot of heat in the backstage area. He let somebody else, not Vince McMahon, who was controlling the media, let the media people to come in before Survivor Series started, and they saw Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair going over the ending of the Survivor Series match at a pregame thing. They were doing their skit and stuff like that. So they let some media person put a little bit of spoiler out there for it. And they were trying to use the Bret Hart screw job type deal. So they did a variation of it where she holds the rope at the end and gets away with the victory to screw over Charlotte Flair. So
they changed it up because it was leaked.
Yep. Yeah, because it was supposed to be a screw job. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be Charlotte Flair screwing Becky Lynch, but they leaked that storyline out. It was supposed to be like like the Bret Hart storyline with
Yeah,
Shawn
Montreal
Michaels, the screw
Screwjob,
job. Yeah, it was supposed to be that kind of storyline, but they changed it up a little bit and then made Becky Lynch win it with the whole. And there's also an article too that came off of this too, that Charlotte Flair doesn't want to leave WWE like everybody thought she was. So,
yeah. Next up was the 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, and the winner on this one was Team Raw defeating Team SmackDown. Rollins pinning Jeff Hardy.
yeah. And see, this is the one I wanted to talk about too. This could lead to Jeff Hardy too changing characters too. Whatever they happen to him on Raw, on SmackDown, because eventually he's probably going to get some reaction from the SmackDown people, and this could all set him in motion to set that new character up too, for that part. And in Rollins, we know Rollins is going as a crazy man anyway. So I mean, he's going as the Heath Ledger type Joker, character. So I mean, to me, I think it was a C. They get certain organizations give it a C plus. I thought it was pretty good at one point, and then I liked it when it was Jeff Hardy and Rollins at the end. I think they got that right with Rollins winning with his little crazy attitude, because it could set Jeff Hardy's character up in the making. So
yeah, I agree with you on that. One problem I had with this is when Xavier Woods got eliminated by Bobby Lashley's Hurt Lock.
Yeah, I mean, we knew Xavier Woods is not going to go all the way to the end. I knew that already. I knew that from the get go.
I did too.
Because him and Roman Reigns was working an angle together. So I mean, you can't really have him win this battle royal for Team SmackDown, because it wasn't set in line with the angle they're going at right now with Roman Reigns and Woods. So I mean, to me, yeah, he got him out with the Hurt Lock. I mean, so be it. But
and I liked how it was the McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. I did like that part.
Yeah,
bringing back the feud that they had over on Monday Night Raw.
right.
And the next part actually was the Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro against the SmackDown Tag Team Champions the Usos. And the winner of that actually was RK Bro.
Yeah, it's a lot of things about this. I mean, they had good chemistry. The match was excellent. I liked the match. I thought the chemistry between it. And I mean, you can see the tension in Randy Orton with Riddle. You can see them coming back at the end. You can see the Usos and stuff like that. But after this match too, if you read some of the publications, the Usos went out of their character roles and gave credit to Randy Orton, for the things because he was the most wrestler. He broke a record, Randy Orton, in appearances at Survivor Series. So he's the all-time leader in Survivor Series, most matches at Survivor Series. So, and it's good. It's a good barometer for Randy Orton in his career. And I think the Usos, broke character to give him all that. But I mean, this match was excellent. I mean, you couldn't go no matter. Randy Orton told the story, Riddle told the story, the Usos told the story, and at the end, RK Bro continued on with their win streak.
And the next part actually was the women's 5-on-5 series elimination match, and the final winner was Team Raw defeating Team SmackDown, and Bianca Belaire pinned Shotzi.
Yeah, it seems fair. I mean, 2 years ago, I think it was SmackDown women and men won. Now it's Raw's turn to win. Type it, but I like the way they had it set up. They had the newcomer Shotzi on the SmackDown end, and you had the savior of Raw of Bianca Belaire, EST of WWE. So I think it brought her character back up a little bit because they're trying to repair her character from what Becky Lynch did to her in 30 some seconds,
Oh,
26 seconds. So they try to build their character back up, and this is one way to build it back up. So they broke it down, now they're building it back up, and then building her up to a certain point because it made her look strong against when she went against Sasha Banks, when she held Sasha Banks up with one hand, to show her strength. So I think they're building her back up to be a thing. I think she's going to come in with Dewdrop, and it's going to build that even more because Dewdrop is a bigger person in wrestling. So for her to build that back up and do what she needs to do, I think that's a good barometer of her, get her back in strong. And then eventually when Liv Morgan's and Becky Lynch stuff rolls out, you can see I wouldn't be surprised too if Liv Morgan takes the title away from Becky Lynch, and then Becky Lynch, then Liv Morgan has it for a few, probably about 3 or 4 months, and then she drops it to Bianca Belaire to start that storyline again.
Ooh, okay.
So
I wouldn't mind that. I would want to see Liv Morgan have the title, and have it longer than definitely what Nikki ASH had it.
Yeah. I think she's due for it. She's been putting into work for it. All the training she's been doing, I think Vince is starting to look into that and try to reward a little bit more. But I like the way they started the slow play of, Becky Lynch walking away from her, not doing anything. And then now she's came up and started a little bit of physical, verbal dialogue with her. And then she looked like she's about to cry, and then she slaps her, and then she walks off. And Becky Lynch is just like side of the face and stuff with her eyes wide open. So I think it's starting to get that little barometer going too. So,
and the last that was actually the last part of Survivor Series was Biggie versus Roman Reigns, and the winner of that was Roman Reigns, unfortunately.
Well, they got it right. They don't want to. To me, we've been talking about it last week. How they were going to do this. Were they going to let Big E win it? Or Roman Reigns is going to win it cleanly. I think they got it right. I think Reigns has still got the Woods storyline going, and and they're trying to make Big E a little bit beatable because eventually they're probably going to take the belt away from him with Seth Rollins. So, but I think they got that match right. Big E showed he can go up against Roman Reigns, showed his power, and then at the end Roman Reigns hit a spear, with his dramatic near fall, and then the guillotine. Then Big E powered him up and lived. It showed Big E's power, but it also showed Roman Reigns, but it didn't make Big E look weak.
Yeah, how the match was done, I was impressed with. I just thought Roman Reigns was going to win was going to lose, excuse me, because I could have definitely seen the New Day come out on the next Friday Night SmackDown episode and just start mocking the Bloodline if Bloodline ended up with if Roman ended up losing.
Yeah, but I think they did it right
especially since the Usos lost to RK Bro.
Yeah, we don't know how that storyline is going to work. We don't know what they're going to do to the Usos because Roman Reigns going to have some kind of Roman Reigns going to have some kind of percussion. Roman Reigns going to have some kind of Roman Reigns going to have some kind of percussions to them losing to the RK Bros. So we don't know how what's going to work on that. We don't know if they are going to bring Brock Lesnar in at some point in here, or are they going to just continue with Woods. But we'll find that out here, Friday night. Just coming up Friday night, we'll talk about it on the next Tuesday show. But yeah, so if you look at it this way here, so overall, I think Survivor Series. I think Survivor Series made up from the last pay-per-view. So.
I think Survivor Series, I agree, other than I really liked the last pay-per-view. I think they did better than the last Crown Jewel than they have
Right.
done in Crown Jewels in the past.
So, and then, then let's move into Monday Night Raw here. We got about less than 20 minutes left here. Raw opened up with Vince McMahon talking about Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce about who might have stolen the egg. The egg started out in Survivor Series. I thought it was kind of comical. Somebody stole the egg. Using
Yeah, it was.
the way they set it up. I thought it was kind of. I'm glad it didn't last too long. I think it was the right. You set it up where somebody stole it, and then you find it on Monday Night Raw with somebody who stole it and stuff like that. I think it was kind of funny. I think the way they used Sami Zayn in that plot too. Him finding the person who actually stole it, bringing it to Vince McMahon, and then Vince McMahon ignoring Sami Zayn. I thought it was actually kind of brilliant and kind of funny at the same time. But that started off, and then we also saw Riddle and Randy Orton having a quick conversation backstage. The bro took on Dolph Ziggler. It looks like Riddle is trying to be more like the Viper and dress like him with his fake goatee.
That was funny too.
Yeah, I thought it was all kind of funny and stuff like that. So, I still don't like Ziggler and Rude together. I think it's time. I think it's time for Dolph Ziggler to ask us a release from WWE so he can go to AEW and compete for a championship over there. I'd like to see him go up against some of the characters over there in AEW. So.
I wanted to see Ziggler end up trying to go for the title and take it off of Big E.
Yeah, but they're using Reigns. They're using Rollins for that. So, but I thought that opening segment was pretty good with them, and then they trade punches, and Riddle blocked it in a super kick and hit a huge knee to the face. I thought the match was pretty good for the most part of that. And then you got next match was Bianca Belaire versus Tamina. So what's your thought on that match?
Tamina being that veteran out there against Bianca. I'm just summing it up a little bit against Bianca, who's been, having a great last year. It was I think that with their talents, compete with Tamina and Bianca Belaire being on the rise that she is. I liked the match, except that it was short.
Right.
I like the after story with Dewdrop coming in better than I like the match.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think this match was like a bridging time gap. Basically, it was put together, but just to tell the aftermath story with Dewdrop and Natalya that came in and help out. Tamina is a powerhouse. The veteran Bellaire is one of the most talented performers. Then the real story came after. See, this is what I was talking about. It was a time that match was set up as a time gap, but the real story came in when Dewdrop came in. That's the real storyline of that whole sequence. The real story came after it was over. Dewdrop attacked Bellaire to cement her heel turn to make this feud official. She hit her with a running cross body to leave the ETS laying in the ring. The feud between Dewdrop and Bellaire could yield some of the fun matches if it's booked right. So I think that segment was booked correctly to have the real story come in when nobody expects that it's going to be the real story that comes in after aftermath. But like you say, if you got a trained eye watching wrestling for a long time as I have, I've seen that build up correctly. And if they keep slow playing, this thing could blockbuster into a big time rivalry.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then after that, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor had a little fight. And then Street Profits went up against AJ Styles and Omos. Uh,
I'm seeing. I've been reading up on the Omos and AJ Styles stuff. I'm kind of seeing that AJ Styles is going to be breaking away from Omos.
thank you
So
WWE for that.
yeah,
I'm a huge. Oh my gosh. I really like AJ Styles. I like what he can do on the in the ring. I think AJ Styles should go base though, but that tag team is awful.
yeah. I think they're going to go in another direction. I think AJ said I gave him all my advices I can do for him, and he's got to go on his own. I need to get back into the conversation of single titles. So
Could you imagine now? Could you imagine if Kevin Owens takes the title off of Big E and then he has a feud with AJ Styles?
yeah, but the problem with that is the problem with Kevin Owens and stuff is you still got Seth Rollins still in that mix too, and WWE favors Seth Rollins over Kevin Owens. So
The Seth Rollins and Finn Balor brawl was again another thing that was very short.
yeah, I mean, I think Finn Balor is just started. I have a feeling that we haven't heard from Finn Balor for his release. He'll probably end up getting released because I mean they're not really booked. I mean the one storyline he had when he first came up was great. He took the title, he got injured, and then he never got the chance to get back into the title picture. He never lost the title. He never got back in the title picture either. So.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to see him go to AEW or go to Impact Wrestling and bring the Bullet Club over there. Yeah.
All right. Next up was Reggie versus Cedric Alexander, and that was let's skip that one.
Well, you forgot the tag team, women's tag team, and Ripley and
women's...
Nikki. I'm glad that's gone. I'm glad that Sonya Vega and Carmella won the title. Now it puts Ripley back where she needs to be in the single round. But who she's gonna battle with, we don't know.
Yeah, I think she was so much better. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Nikki ASH in a tag team, but I think that really helped Nikki ASH more than it helped Rhea Ripley, if that makes sense.
But it also frees up Nikki too when he decided to bring back Alexa Bliss. They compared them back together too.
Ooh, yeah. Yes.
So,
yeah, except that Halloween just happened. I think they did that.
Well, you can still use the Nikki Nash is the superhero with a villain in a Harley Quinn type deal with Alexa Bliss. So
yeah. Next one was the handicap. Next match actually was a handicap match, and Bobby Lashley went off against Rey and Dominic Mysterio. And the winner of that was Bobby Lashley doing a hurt lock again.
Well, I mean, it was a good one. I mean, that match was excellent. I mean, the Mysterios got their licks in against Bobby Lashley. Lashley got his licks in, both Mysterios. But to me, it really didn't show that attention where if they're trying to split the Mysterios up and have that one feud against each other. We didn't see that attention in that match. So I don't know what the storyline is going to go on with. So to me, it looks like Adam Pearce is behind this hurt lock going after the Mysterios. I think the Mysterios could end up in that authority situation on Raw. So
yeah, Do you think Triple H might come back?
Triple H hasn't fully healed from Stephanie sent
That's
out a
true.
thing. He hasn't fully healed from his heart surgery and stuff like that. So I don't see him coming back into the ring. Because you gotta be stress when you're dealing with your heart and stuff like that. You gotta be stress free. And him getting back in the ring could really stress him out. It could really damage. And I've seen this now. His oldest daughter is starting to wrestle too. So he might be down in development league. Helping his daughter try to get into the main. I will never see her. I don't know why you got to try her out and stuff like that, but but her daughter, his oldest daughter, came out and said she wants to take over from Vince McMahon. So,
ooh, okay. Next up was Damian Priest versus Apollo Crews.
It turned out, it said that, but it turned out to be Sami Zayn came in because Apollo Crews turned down the open challenge at the last minute. Then Zayn came in with his conspiracy theory type deal.
So is Zayn back on Raw? What's happened to him being the is Zayn back on Raw?
Yeah. Yep.
So is he going back and forth, or is he just staying on Raw?
I don't know yet. They haven't really decided yet. I mean, he could. I mean, he better go rover because he can do the conspiracy theory on Raw and on SmackDown at the same time. So,
So he's gonna be like the women's tag team title, and
he could be
rights to both.
Yeah, he could be. They're gonna have to do something because they release all these wrestlers.
Yeah.
So
and the last part was Big E versus Austin Theory, and the winner was Big E, and that's where the egg storyline comes in.
Right. Yeah, it's a Cleopatra egg, and like we said on Survivor Series, that started as a comedy, as a comment. It was a comic skit. I thought it was pretty cool. It was kind of funny because Vince McMahon, you saw hollering at everybody on Survivor, and then they brought in the two managers and told some of the Raw characters that had to be on Raw. Some of the SmackDown characters had to be making over on Raw if they were going to use some of them throughout the night, and Austin Theory and all that stuff. And then found out it was Austin. I like the way they brought Sami Zayn into this. Sami Zayn, went out and found the person who actually stole the egg, and then Mr. Man just ignored Sami Zayn the whole time and went with Austin Theory, took a selfie with Austin Theory, and he was just in there. I think that was just worked out perfect too. And then and then Austin Aries, I kind of knew that he wasn't going to win the title because it's just he's too early. He's too raw. He's not been on Raw that long, and his character is kind of stupid. Raw. Yeah, his character is kind of stupid. He's taking selfies with everybody and then just try to beat somebody up from behind and stuff like that. So, but I like the way Raw ended with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins showing up, and then the fan that attacked Seth Rollins supposed to kind of screwed up. He was supposed to attack Biggie. The guy who was attacked is Roman Reigns' cousin.
What?
Yeah, I seen a video. There's a video out on it saying that he is Roman Reigns' cousin, and he had a beef with Kofi Kingston, which Kofi's real name is Kofi Garcia. And that's what he used in that video. And he said, I had a message and I was sent there to do this, blah, blah, blah. But he ended up tagging Seth Rollins at the whole deal. So he kind of screwed up, and he did spend a night in jail because they showed a video of him walking out of the jail and stuff like that. So that was actually Roman Reigns' actual cousin who was sent in as it was hired by Vince McMahon to do that. So,
oh gosh, that's funny. Do you think he's gonna get released?
He's already released. He got out on bond day.
No, I mean released from WWE.
I don't know.
Or do you think that they're gonna do like what they did back in 2000, with yeah, I have a cat on my lap. With Big Show and The Rock.
They could do something like that, but I don't know. I don't know if this. I don't know if it's just planned for that one night thing to give somebody to get WWE some publicity type deal. Could be a publicity stunt too.
Yeah, Brock was supposed to win that Royal Rumble. Well, he did win that Royal Rumble, but he accidentally tapped his toes in before the Big Show got out.
Right. So we're looking here at I want to talk going in here. Charlotte Flair and Andra unfollow each other on their Twitter and Instagram and their Facebook. So is their relationship over? That's gonna be the quick question. Is this the fatal straw? Charlotte Flair said she didn't want to go to AEW and now he's probably broke off the engagement because he really wanted her over there with him. So
I think so.
So
I think it might have been broken that off, or maybe they didn't break up.
Maybe they got tired.
Kept in private.
Yeah, maybe they just got tired of asking, or is Charlotte coming over to this, blah blah blah, and figured that Charlotte was having some backstage heat because of it, so they just unfollow each other just to try to shut up all the media and everybody out speculating.
Yeah, I think that's what I think. Instead of the actual breakup, I think it's more of the backstage drama with Charlotte Flair and everyone else. I think that kind of sealed the deal of them two unfollowing each other.
Yeah, and then we had Bully Ray, who's broke up with his longtime girlfriend, Velvet Sky, no longer in a relationship, announcing their amicable split up on social media on Monday. Both wrestlers post identical statements to their Twitter acknowledging that they are parted ways and that will not be commenting further. So to me, wrestlers dating other wrestlers is kind of hard and stuff like that to make it work. I mean, you got some that making it work, like Triple H and Stephanie, and you got, John Moxley and Renee Young. They're married and they had a kid together. They're making it work.
Edge and his wife.
Edge and Beth Phoenix is working out great. Who else? The Porter from Street Profits and Bianca Belaire, they're married in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They're making it work. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But they said they had some kind of problems, but they're working their issues right now too because of the baby and stuff like that. So, and then you got wrestlers who married outside of wrestling, like Randy Orton. And I like the end of Monday Night Raw. That right after the cameras went off, Randy Orton brought his daughter out for everybody to sing happy birthday to her and stuff like that. So
really,
yeah, that was kind of cool. I've seen a video around that. I think that was pretty cool after the show to show him as a father figure type deal. I think it's pretty cool because Randy Orton had a lot of bad history around. I mean, he got permanently discharged from the Navy because of drugs. Basically, out of the Marine Corps because of drugs and stuff like that. He went UA and blah, blah, blah. So his life has really been turmoil, and he's really gotten it straightened out after he got to WWE and with John Cena helping him, and with John Cena helping him straighten his life out. And then he got married. He was previously married, got divorced. I think he had a kid with his first wife, and then he got remarried with his second wife, and they had a kid. So I mean, there's a lot of issues with Randy. I think he's put that behind him. I like the way he's got his life turn around on that too. So,
and then you got how The Rock did before he joined football, before he joined the CFL. Because like I looked it up, like he has been like arrested before playing football. He's been arrested about 8 times.
Yeah, he was arrested 8 times, and then The Rock, also. When he got out of jail, with $7. He lived off $7. When he came to WWE, when he got picked up by Vince McMahon, he only had $7 in his pocket.
Wow.
And he lived in this car. And he told a story about it. He said he lived in this car going through the where he needed to be in training and stuff like that. He lived in this car. He lived off $7. This man, gave him the contract that he needed, and then got his life turned around after that. And then his dad, him and his dad had a rocky relationship at the beginning, and then his mom and stuff was trying to help him out, and they finally got him helped out to where he can make his life now. Look what he's doing. He's one of the most successful movie guys in Hollywood right now.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Anything else before we give this a close?
Another thing about The Rock too is he went back and gave people a certain thing. Bought his mom a house where she now has her house. He bought his person that helped him get out of trouble at the University of Miami. Bought him a brand new truck and delivered it to him on a surprise. So, I mean, he's giving back to the people that helped him out and stuff like that. And you got to understand this situation with wrestlers, because these schools are not cheap. These schools cost $2,500, and you had to pay these guys to go to these schools, get these trainings. So, former wrestlers, they charge them like $2,500. And I mean, sometimes you're on the indie scenes and you're living out of your car, you're living out of this stuff because you're not getting paid regularly. Like, you only get paid when you perform. And WWE, AEW is a little bit different because their wrestlers have got a little salary going, and they're not independent contractors to AEW. WWE wrestlers are independent contractors. So the WWE, they get a 1099 from the WWE saying you made this much money. You're paying your individual taxes. WWE is not paying for the wrestler taxes. That's the difference between AEW and WWE wrestlers. AEW wrestlers are not independent contractors. They're more like an employer type, which WWE wrestlers are independent contractors, and that's why you get all these releases. That's why they can be released at a moment's notice. So, but that's about it.
Nothing new for me other than check the website, because soon, with some time, try to get it done within the next couple of days, I will be posting some MLS playoff game recaps on the website, giving my thoughts on that, all this kind of stuff. But anyway, stay tuned in within the next couple of days to try to get that done by then.
All right.
This has been Nate the Great and Ray Cruz signing out, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Peace. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yeah, thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody from me as well.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.